Hi, guys.
Hi,
Can
how
you
are
hear
you?
me? Yes, good, thank you. Can you see me?
No,
Not
not
yet.
yet.
No, we can't.
Okay, well, I can see you guys.
Yeah, should be an option if you look lower down where it says
Yeah.
stop or start video.
Start video, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's it.
There you
We're
are,
on.
Lee.
Yeah, that's
There
right.
we go. How you
You
doing,
okay,
legend?
guys?
We're good,
Let me
thank
just
you.
turn it up a little bit. Hold on.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, that should be okay now.
yeah, yeah. It's looking good.
Okay. Right, let me just, yeah, good. Just come out of the sunshine. That's it, good
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for taking the time out for us, Lee. It really means a lot.
No problem, no problem. Good to talk to
And
you.
thank you
Good
for
to talk to
thank
somebody
you.
this time.
And thank you for scoring that goal, eh? You
Oh,
led
well,
to a lot of good things.
It's a long time ago, isn't it? 30 years has just gone nowhere. But yeah, people still remember, don't they? That, you know, the start of Sir Alex's era and what have you. So, but it's nice, you know, it's nice to have those memories and look back on it. You know, all this time afterwards.
You just etch your name into folklore. You're just a part of the history of the club then.
Yeah, well, that's the nice thing, isn't it? I mean, I grew up with Manchester United. I mean, I'm from Manchester as well, so I went to my first game when I was 6. So to be part of the history of the club now is, you know, I'm very proud, and it's something special for me as well. So, you know, I know you guys all remember those days of a certain generation anyway. I mean, the young kids have got no idea who Lee Martin is these days. But I suppose if you look back into the history of the club, then yeah, I mean, it was probably a pivotal time, you know. So yeah, nice to be part of all that.
That's the point of actually inviting people like you over, because most of us in Pakistan started watching football after 2005, 2006, so they don't know the laying foundation of the success that we endured. We only saw success, but what you guys helped us get at the start, that's what we want our fan base to educate themselves about. So, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, because I grew up watching the team in the 70s and 80s, and we didn't have a great. We were a good FA Cup team, but we were struggling in the league. Liverpool were dominant, as we all know now. But you know, Sir Alex came in '86, and it was great. It was just, well, it was a massive big change for all of us because the discipline he brought to the club. But you know, we soon knew where we stood, and if we didn't do the job, then we were in a bit of trouble. But you know, people of a certain generation don't remember, you know, the start of Sir Alex's career, because it was a bit of a struggle for a few years. You know, 3 or 4 years of no trophies. So you know, to get that first one was very important, I suppose. And yes, like I said, for you, I mean, you all look very young, and you'd have no idea of. Probably none of you were born when I scored the goal 30
Not
years
one of
ago.
us, actually. You can see
Not one of
Hassan,
you.
and yeah.
No, not those two, but I was there, very, very much watching.
Yes,
We had the opportunity to invite the guy who actually held up the Tara Fergie banner, and we also talked to him.
Okay.
So it's been a nice learning curve for us, hearing about United from the 80s to the 90s, early 90s, how it all went down, how we progressed as a club, and how Sir Alex Ferguson changed the club around for everybody.
Yes.
So, good learning curve for us.
Okay, so Lee, I'll just sorry.
Go on, sorry,
Okay, I'll just introduce everyone. It's Tarad, and it's Hassan, and myself, Ismaeel, and we've been the official supporters club in Pakistan for about 6 years now, and we've got 150 paid-up members so far. So hopefully more in this season.
And growing all the time.
Yeah, hopefully.
Good.
Yeah, and we've invited Keith Gillespie as well, you coming on now, Ben Thorley, and a few others have also come on. So our only purpose is to learn and educate ourselves, like I said. Yeah,
fantastic. I mean, that's a good number as well, 150. You know, it's been going 6 years, and you obviously see the TV now, and you can get a new TV to see about what, you know, games, but in the past from years ago. So, you know, it's all out there now, isn't it? On social media, you can go on YouTube now and look at the cup final in 1990, which I do on a regular basis. I must admit, I watch it now and again, just just to jog the memories. So that's quite nice.
Brilliant.
Yeah, having 150 members is also good because the difference between the pound and Pakistan rupee is as much as the United have won trophies against the trophies that City have won. So that's a big number of difference. It's quite expensive here.
Yeah, so, it's expensive, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pound's quite strong compared to the rupee, and it's not easy for us, for a lot of fans to get over also. But we have screenings. Ismaeel arranges screenings. We have them across the country. We watch games. We get together. Sometimes we watch us lose at home to Burnley, and you wonder if it's worth it. But you support the team.
It's painful, yeah. It is. It's painful. I'm the same as you. I mean, I'm there every match day, as Benny's as well, and Keith and Davey May. We're all there on match days and still part of the club. But it is painful, and we've had a couple of years that have been difficult. Probably since your supporters club started up, the 6 years ago, we've had difficult times, haven't we? But I think at the moment, I think we're doing okay. And we've got the makings of a really good side, I think, with Solskjaer.
The funny thing is our supporters club started after Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you were close to that, weren't you? So you've not seen all that. Well, you'll know about the success, but actually seeing it as a supporters club, and when you get together to see all that, it must be quite difficult because we've had some difficult times, haven't we, with different managers. From the start, really, from Sir Alex leaving. But we all said that, as ex-players. I've been going to United for 40 years, and we all said as soon as Sir Alex hangs his boots up and retires, then it's going to be a bit of a struggle for a few years, and that's how it's panned out. But it's a great club. It's huge around the world, as you know, and people like yourselves watch all the games and get together, and it's the same everywhere. We go to different countries all around the world, and it's exactly the same. The passion for the club is unbelievable. And it's great, it's always great to see people like yourselves are so passionate about Manchester United. So, yeah, it's good. And do you get the games? You get all the games live there? Every game.
Yeah. So a lot of the times you have to have satellite TV, but we make arrangements. People watch games. Then Pakistanis are very active on Twitter. So if you've lost a game or won a game, there'll be about a few thousand of us, going on about it. Afterwards, and just now it's started to find its way into the mainstream. It's obviously a very cricket obsessed country, but now slowly football is getting bigger, and obviously United, even with the lean times, United I think still remains the best supported club without doubt.
We tend to find that wherever we travel. I mean, we go to the Far East quite a lot to play games, and 11-a-side, 6-a-side, whatever. And it's always Manchester United is the biggest supported club. We go to America, it's the same. If we go to the Middle East or Africa, it's all Manchester United. So it's great to see that club that Sir Alex has built, and managers before him, and Sir Matt Busby and people like that have built the club up to where it is now, to be the biggest club in the world. I mean, people talk about Barcelona and Real Madrid, and Liverpool are on a good run, and City have bought a couple of leagues, but Manchester United have got the history, and that's the great thing about about us as a Manchester United family. So it's fantastic, really. It's great to be part of.
Okay, so Lee, if I could start off by asking you how the love affair with United began.
Well, I grew up about 7 miles from Old Trafford, and my dad used to take me to watch the reserve games at Old Trafford. We couldn't afford to pay him to watch the first team then, so my dad would take me to watch the reserve games from being 6 years old, really. And I just got the bug for it, and to go to Old Trafford and watch a team play at Old Trafford was something pretty special. And then when I was a little bit older, maybe 2 or 3 years after that, my dad had started to take me to the first team games, and I was just hooked, from the word go. The stadium's totally different to what it is now. I mean, it's a magnificent stadium now, but then I think it was about 40,000, and it was standing as well then. So we used to stand on the stretcher then with me and my dad, and then just that's where I got the bug from. So I've always been really since then. Like I said, 45 years probably now that I've been I've been going to Old Trafford. So it's quite a long time.
Okay, and how about your introduction to United, your youth career, your signing? How did that go about?
Yeah, well, I was 12 years old and I was playing for the local county team with the school. We used to go every Saturday morning to play with our local county team. And this one time, I mean, I was sub every week, so I was all right. I was a decent player, but I wasn't the best player at the whole lot. And this one game, I was on the substitute bench, and I came on for the last 20 minutes, and I scored a hat trick. And there was all the scouts were there, Manchester United scouts were there, and we didn't know at the time. So as soon as I came off the pitch, all the scouts came over to me and said, "Would you like to come for a trial in the school holidays?" So I was 12, yeah. So I went for a trial at the age of 12 for a week, and they liked what they saw, and they said, "We'd like to sign you as a schoolboy." So from then on, really, I was there as a couple of nights a week from school, and then at the age of 16 as an apprentice.
Interesting story though. How did it go? You scoring a hat trick to being a defender for your professional career?
Yeah, well, it was funny because I always used to play centre forward, and every school team or Sunday team I played for, I'd score 50 goals every season without fail. Used to get Player of the Year and Man of the Match and everything. And then I went to United, and they said, "Well, we're not sure where we're going to play you." So they said, "We'll give you a try at fullback." And I played at left back with the youth team. And then I played there all my career. It was strange really because I'm right-footed as well, but I played there all my career as a left back, as a right-footed left back. So and then really never scored. I mean, I scored credited for 2 goals at United. The other goal I scored, really, other than the cup final, was against West Ham, and it was a deflection off my knee. So I didn't really even score that one. So really, in the 15 years I was at United, 15 years altogether, I scored 1 goal in those 15 years after being, 50 goals a season, which is it baffles me that really. I don't know, but it's a different scenario, I suppose, playing in the first team to playing in a Sunday, a Sunday league team. But so they put me at left back, and that was it all through the career.
So, Lee, after Ron is sacked, you were still a youth player at the time, and then Sir Alex comes in. Did he have a chat with you about what he was looking for, and how did your first team breakthrough come about?
Well, I was 17 when Ron got sacked, and I was doing quite well under Ron Atkinson because I'd started training with the first team a little bit, so I realised I was sort of like progressing really well under Ron. And playing with a little bit with the first team, but then he got sacked in November '86, and Sir Alex came down. And to be fair, a lot of us hadn't heard of Sir Alex. As a young lad, we didn't really watch a lot of Scottish football, so we didn't really know a lot about him. But he came to the club and he sat us all down as youth team players in what was the old gym, and he said about the discipline. And he said about our diets had to be right, and we were representing the club now, and we had to be, shaven. We were dressed properly. The haircut was done. Everything had to be right. And it was great. Even things like when, as a 17-year-old lad, he gave us a bit of advice about pensions. He said, any money you make out of football, you put in a pension. And I remember that, and I did all through my career, and reaping the rewards now. But it was just the discipline of when he came from Ron being quite relaxed to Sir Alex being the total opposite, and very disciplined. And if you cross the line, you're in trouble. But you knew that, and you respected his authority, even though he hadn't won anything then. Although he'd won stuff at Aberdeen, he had to gain our trust as well as we had to gain his trust. So it was quite difficult as a young lad coming through, having all that discipline all of a sudden. But the ones that couldn't handle that sort of discipline, they were moved on one by one. And the lads that did as they were told and listened to what Sir Alex was saying, they progressed as I did. And it was great for me, to be fair. He was brilliant with me all the way through, always giving me advice. Sometimes he was very tough on us, but a lot of the time it was all good advice. And I always look back on it now, and sometimes he was very strict on us in the dressing room and shouting and screaming, but I always thought he wanted the best for us. And I've always said that to everybody. You know, people talk about the hairdryer in the dressing room, and, you know, believe you me, I had it plenty of times, and I was on the end of it shouting and screaming. But I knew it was for my own good. You know, it wasn't pleasant at the time, but when I look back on it now, I think, yeah, he wanted the best for me as well as the club, which was great. And that's why he was so successful, because he was good with everybody. He was tough on everybody, but he was fair with everybody at the same time.
Okay, so you've touched on a very interesting topic, so we have to ask your worst hairdryer. You'll have to tell
Yeah.
us a story.
Oh, well, it was actually away at Newcastle. It was actually the year we won the FA Cup, so it was 89-90, and we played away at Newcastle, and I was having an absolute nightmare first half, and I knew I had an idea that it was going to kick off at the dressing room at half time. Anyway, I sat down, and the manager came bashing through the door, and he just flew over to me, and he grabbed me by my shirt and pushed me back into. No, I was stood up at the time. He grabbed my shirt and pushed me back into the railings, and my shirt got caught on the hook, so I was hooked onto the clothes hooks at the back, and I couldn't move forward. So it was a bit embarrassing, that, but it ended up a bit of a scuffle with everybody, and then it calmed down, and I went out second half, and I played quite well second half. But I think we won the game 3-2. I remember Danny Wallace scored. We won the game 3-2, and he came in afterwards and he said to me, I was on my own in the toilet area, and he came in and he said, I apologise for what happened before, but, you know, I only want the best for everybody. And I accepted that. Was fair enough. You know, and we all moved on, and he never bore a grudge with us. You know, by Monday morning, everything was fine again, and he'd come in and say, "Oh, is everything okay?" And, you know, that's how it worked. You got a bit of a roasting off him, but by a couple of days later, everything was fine again, and it was, you know, back to normal, but not pleasant.
Okay, so can we talk about you breaking into the first team? How was the debut, and what were you told before the game?
Yeah, well, I've actually been on tour. We were on tour in Norway through the summer on a pre-season tour, and I thought I was just going to make the numbers up and collect the kit, and, you know, make sure all the first team players' boots were all done. Anyway, I ended up playing a few games because one or two of the lads got injured, and I played a few games on tour in Norway, and I must have done all right. And then we got back, and I still had no idea I was going to be making my debut. We were playing QPR at Old Trafford, first game, and the manager called me up to his office on the Friday, and he said, "You're starting tomorrow." And I said, "What?" He said, "You're starting the game tomorrow," and I just couldn't believe it. You know, I think I was just turned 20, so I was just so shocked. And I used to get the bus home to Manchester then, so I virtually ran to the bus stop. You know, got on the bus, ran home to tell my mum and dad that I was playing in United's first team the next day. But I slept all right. I mean, I was very nervous, but I slept okay. And then, obviously, making your debut at Old Trafford, it's just nothing like it. That is just, you know, when you look back on that, it's so special. Being in the tunnel, I was terrified. It was a bag of nerves. But once I was on the pitch, I was fine. And the lads were great with me. You know, Gary Pallister, Steve Bruce, Brian Robson was great with all the young lads. So I knew that I was playing in a good team. And I just had to get through it, and I did okay. I think we drew 1-1. It was a very hot day, and I did okay. And then, you know, the next game came around, and he said, "Oh, you're playing again, so, you know, you feel like you're progressing, you're doing okay." So it was a bit of a shock for me to make my debut, because I wasn't expecting it at the time. So that was quite nice as well.
Lee, you played 32 games that season in 89-90. So you were United's regular left back.
Yeah.
You know, you're still young. You're playing for Alex Ferguson. He obviously likes his left backs. We've seen always to go out and attack also. So when that first season finished, did you imagine was Clayton coming in and playing on the left a bit of an issue, or were there injuries involved? What led to you having less game time?
Yeah, well, yeah, you're right. I mean, I played majority of the games that season, and I was really enjoying it. I felt as if I'd settled into the team. I felt as if I was doing well. I was as fit as I'd ever been. And then we went on pre-season after after the end of the season, we went to Ireland to play a pre-season game, and I twisted my back, and I had a real problem with my back for about 2 or 3 months. And I was in the physio room all the time. I've been to see specialists, and then Clayton came in to play a few games, and the manager said to me after about 3 or 4 months, he said, "I'm going to sign somebody as cover for you. You know, once you fit again, you go back in." And it was Dennis Irwin. So you know, and Dennis was brilliant. Honestly, what a player we got there with Dennis.
What a player, yeah,
and a great lad as well. And I've no problem with that. Dennis was fantastic, and I'm the same. I wanted the best for the club as well. And if I wasn't playing, then I wanted somebody like Dennis or Clayton, you know, to go in and do well. So I never had a problem with that. But eventually, I ended up, you know, in and out of the team a little bit, and then eventually in '94 went to Celtic. So, which was a good move for me at the time. I have to say.
That season also, you were in the FA Cup. Were you playing more FA Cup games? Is that how come you ended up being part of the side in the final? And then, of course, what was the mood like? You know, we weren't doing well. We're 13th. No. People are talking about the boss losing his job. Mark Robbins scores a goal that they say, you know, keeps him in a job. Yeah. Were there rumors of people coming in? Were there rumors of new managers? Was the mood? Did you guys think, right, the boss is not going to see this through to the end of the season?
Well, no, there was never any rumours of different managers coming in, and it's only really when I look back now and into the history of it all and the past, and you know, you see newspaper clippings. At the time, I don't think any of us realised that the manager was under so much pressure because, although you know he'd had 3.5 seasons, we all could see the players he brought in and what he was building, and you know, people say that the Notts Forest game against the Notts Forest game where Matt Robbins scored, you know, people have said that he would have been sacked that night if we hadn't won that game. And I don't know. I mean, you wonder how long he would have got after the, you know, if we hadn't won the final, how long he would have got after that. I don't know, but I think, you know, speaking to 1 or 2 of the board members that were there at the time, they were confident in what he was building. I think, you know, 1 or 2 of the fans got a bit restless, and there was banners up in the Stretford end saying Fergie out, and you know, he's had long enough now, which I suppose, you know, in terms of football nowadays, he wouldn't have got 3.5 seasons. He'd have been gone way before, you know, he got. So in those terms, I suppose he was lucky, and we were all lucky as well, because you know what he did for all of us afterwards, after winning that first FA Cup, was something pretty special. You know, and I think I played every game in the FA. I think I did play every game in the FA Cup that year, as well as most of the league games. So to be part of that, and to be part of going to Wembley for Manchester United was just amazing for me. I mean, that doesn't get any, and nothing will ever top that. You know, walking out Wembley for Man United, and I think I was the only homegrown player in that starting lineup, which was, you know, I'm quite proud of that as well. So that was nice.
Okay, so we came 13th that season and an 11-match winless run as well. So leading up to the FA Cup final, our form wasn't too great. So was the onus completely on the FA Cup, and what did Sir Alex say before you guys stepped on the pitch?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. We did finish 13th, and it was a real tough season for us. Sir Alex always said the same things to us before we went out on the pitch. He always said, you know, press the ball, express yourself, don't be frightened of being on the ball, which none of the lads were. Sometimes, you know, we lost because, you know, we didn't close down enough or whatever, but he always said the same thing to us, you know, express yourself on the ball, don't be frightened. I mean, Wembley, the FA Cup final back then was the biggest game in the world, and, you know, the nerves and everything else could get to people, but he just said, go out there and enjoy it, enjoy the day, don't be frightened of getting on the ball. And, you know, eventually it paid off, obviously going to a replay. But there was nothing different said. There was no panic. And no panic from the players either. And I don't think any of us thought that if we didn't win the game, that he would have been sacked and, you know, a new manager would have been coming in. So, and I think I probably speak for the majority of the lads. I don't think any of the lads, you know, thought, and that sort of like mentality at the time. We were confident that the players he brought in, like Gary Pallister and Paul Ince and Steve Bruce and, you know, Mark Hughes he brought back, were all top players. And that was the start of you know, building a really good side.
Okay, but you've named all these players, and within a period of 3 to 4, or you can say 5 to 6 years, they were all moved on. So was that a part of trying to go for instant success, or was that just a part of gaining experience for the younger lads like the class of '92?
Yeah, no, I don't think it was ever instant success with Alex. I think it was always building a team, and we were so lucky with that class of '92 because, I mean, Ben probably told you as well, but they were all fantastic players. They were all, they were all good lads, but they were all great players as well. They all got on well together, and they could all see once one of them got through, the others thought, well, if he's doing it, then why can't, why not everybody else? And they were just fantastic. And the likes of Roy Keane coming to the club, and Eric Cantona was massive for everything. I mean, Eric made a massive difference. He was just brilliant. He was a quiet fella in the dressing room, but the influence he had on the pitch and the influence he had with all the young boys was just brilliant. And I had a couple of years with Eric, and I learned so much from him. His training, his attitude in training, he'd always stay out afterwards, and I ended up doing that all through my career just after watching Eric. So that was quite special, Eric coming to the club. But then, all those young lads coming through that were great players, and you see now, like, they were all there for 10, 12 years and brilliant for the club. And it was great to have that mix of young lads and local young lads coming through with the likes of Eric Cantona and Roy Keane, and Brian Robson was still there back in '94. So, but it was all about building teams for Sir Alex. He never signed 5 or 6 players in a summer. It was always 1 or 2 adding to what we had, and he's done it all the way through his 26 years. He built some fantastic teams, and every time somebody said, "Oh, United are going to struggle," he'd bring somebody in, and he brought Ronaldo in, obviously, later on, and to complement people like Giggs and Rooney and people like that. We just had some fantastic players over the years, and it's been great to watch from me as a fan as well, and you guys would probably be the same.
Lee, how did it feel as a relatively young player to have gone on and scored the winner in the biggest English Football Cup game in the world at that point in time?
Oh, it was amazing. It was just, like I said before, there's nothing that will ever match that in my, sporting life, because having grown up in Manchester and been at United since I was 12, and I think I'd scored 1 goal, the West Ham goal, before that, leading up to the final. So I think I was actually 60-1 on the coupon and the betting to score. So I was a rank outsider, and I think the goalkeeper only 50-1. So it gave me really no chance. But to actually go and score the goal and to win the game 1-0 was something just so special. And it's people still remember that. Like we said, 30 years ago now. Every summer when the FA Cup comes round in May, that goal's shown and the game's shown. And it's really nice. It's really special to have been part of that and been part of a really good side. And Sir Alex's first was brilliant as well.
Okay, so you said before the game there was no rumors or there was no mental tension in the dressing room about Sir Alex Ferguson's sacking. So afterwards, was there a different kind of jubilation that, was it just that we've won the FA Cup, or was it also that Sir Alex's job is safe now and we can relax?
I don't think we ever thought it would save his job. It was just jubilation because we'd won the FA Cup, and I suppose we knew that Sir Alex was under a bit of pressure. But I don't think there was really any thought of him. We've saved his job here, and we're all great because we've saved his job. But no, I think he was made up for us as well, and the dressing room after was just amazing. And Sir Alex was thrown into the bath with his suit on and his watch and his phone in his pocket, and that was quite funny. And we were all in the bath with our kits on, and it was just brilliant. You don't get many. It was obviously a nighttime game. You don't get many nights like that in your career, and there's not many people played in FA Cup finals. And if somebody has said to me when I was like 12, 13 that you're playing an FA Cup final for United and score a winning goal, that's what dreams are made of. It's like Royal Rovers. It just doesn't happen to many people. So for me to do that was, I feel I was very lucky. But I suppose you know, it took a lot of hard work, and I trained hard, and you know, that's what you train all your life for moments like that. So when they do come around, I remember Mark Hughes saying to me before the game, make sure you enjoy the game, because he'd already played in one. And he said to me, make sure you enjoy it, because you might never come back again. And he was exactly right. But I loved the experience, and I loved being part of that team at Sir Alex, you know, giving the faith in me to play.
Okay, and moving on, obviously you were a regular, as Hassan said, during that FA Cup winning season. But afterwards, you had an injury. So how did that come about, and how hard was it to get your place back in the team?
I had a problem with my back, and I ended up having an operation on it. I had 2 discs that were touching the nerves, so it was really painful for a long time. And I was out for about 3 or 4 months, and then, you know, Clayton played a few games. Dennis Irwin was establishing himself in the team, and it was difficult for me to get back in the team because Dennis was brilliant. But because at the time I was English, there was a 4 foreigners rule, so we could only have in the European games 4 foreign players. So me being an English player was the manager wanted me there to play in the European games as an English player. So you know, there was a bit of him keeping me for that. But you know, when I went to Celtic in '94, he said you know, he didn't want me to go. He wanted me to stay at the club. But for me, for my own personal pride and wanting to play football, you know, I felt as if it was, you know, I had to make the move, and I had to go, which was difficult because I'd always been at United, and I grew up in Manchester, so it was a big change for me to say, right, well, I'm going to go and sign for another club, quite a long way away, you know, 4 or 5 hours drive away was quite difficult, but it happened all so quick, and you know, I'm glad I made the move now, because you know, I'd had 12 years at United, which was fantastic as well.
Lee, we spoke about the fact that obviously the caliber of fullbacks at United, yourself, Dennis Irwin, Clayton Blackmore, Paul Parker, you know, there were 4 of you vying basically for 2 places. And then, of course, you played a little bit. You played in the run to the European Cup Winners' Cup, I believe, except for the final. You played quite a lot of the games.
I did.
And the European Super Cup. But at the time that you left, you were regularly captaining the reserve side. You were still 26. I can imagine the boss not wanting you to go because you've grown up at United. You know, you're a local boy. You understand the things. So, at any point, did you think, right, maybe I can? Because you're in your prime, did you think I'll wait maybe 2-3 more years, see if I get a chance? Or was it the fact that we had Gary and Phil coming in your position? Dennis Irwin is already there, you know, and Celtic is a big club. So in the back of your mind, was it like, right, I can go and be a regular at Celtic, or do I just stay at United, maybe give it 2 more years? Because the boss clearly wanted you. Did you feel that it was the right move for you?
I think it was the right time for me to go. I mean, I'd had probably 2 or 3. Well, I probably had 2 years in and out the side, and it's difficult when you're not playing because as a young lad you just want to be playing football, and there's nothing like it when you're playing football and you win a game for Manchester United and that buzz. But when you're not in the team and you know you're training with the reserves, when you've actually been in the first team, it is quite difficult. And I felt, you know, if I waited another year or another 2 years and it was still the same, then I was going to be wasting, you know, probably my best years as a player. So I decided it was a good time to leave. You know, when I did, I was actually going to wait till the summer because Brian Robson was going to take over the Middlesbrough job, and Brian said to me, "If you wait till the summer, I'll take you to Middlesbrough." And then just out of the blue, Lou Macari, obviously, you know, the United legend, was manager at Celtic
as well.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, great lad. And Lou rang me up out of the blue and just said, you know, come and sign for us. I've booked a flight for you tomorrow. Come and have a chat with us, and we'll see if we can sort something out. And within 2 or 3 days, I'd signed for Celtic and I'd played my first game. So I think the fact that it happened so quick was better for me. If I'd have had time to think about it a bit more, then I may have waited till the summer and gone to Middlesbrough with Brian. But the manager wasn't happy at all when I rang him up and said that Lou's phoned me about going to Celtic tomorrow. He just he had a little bit of a hairdryer on the phone and put the phone down on me. But he rang me back a little bit later and apologised, and he said, if you need any help, I'm happy for you to go if that's what you want. If you need any help with contracts or anything, you know, I'm very happy to come and, you know, represent you and negotiate a contract for you, which I thought was brilliant because, you know, I don't think he would have done that for everybody, but I was proud that he said that to me, and I went on great terms. You know, I've always gotten well with Sir Alex afterwards, and you know, I'm always welcome back, which is nice. So it was the right time for me to go, and it was a great move for me at the time. And the fact that Lou was there made it a little bit easier for me to go and play for Celtic. And it was a good Celtic team that I went into as well. You know, with likes of Charlie Nicholas and Paul McStay. They were all good players at the time. So I enjoyed my time at Celtic, even though it was just how it panned out there was with some injuries. I broke my leg, I broke my arm, I had an operation on my back. And from being a good move for the first year or so, turned into a bit of a nightmare. But, you know, but that's life, and there's nothing I could do about that. That's just bad luck at the time. So, yeah. but it was a good move for me, yeah.
Tarad, you're mute.
Sorry about that. Lee, apart from the FA Cup final, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I've got you.
Apart from the FA Cup final, what is your favorite memory at being at Manchester United? Could be a locker room story, could be an in-game thing. What stands out other than the FA Cup final goal?
The thing that stands out for me was my debut, making my debut at Old Trafford on a nice sunny day was just something that I never thought would ever happen, and that was just so special for me to be told you're playing in the first team. Because all the way through, really, from being 12, I didn't think I was good enough. But I worked hard and I listened to the coaches. And, you know, Eric Harrison, who brought the class of 92 through, he coached me as well. And I learned everything from him. And he was brilliant. But to make my debut, that was my proudest moment as a Manchester United player. And, you know, it was great to go in the FA Cup final goal. But, you know, to put a shirt on for United was just something not everybody gets a chance to do. So that's the thing that stands out, I suppose, for me most.
Okay, so Ali, you've had a bit of youth coaching as well. Have you ever tried at United? And in any case, I just want to know about the youth prospects you're excited about at United currently.
Yeah, I did a little bit of coaching, yeah, and I really enjoyed doing the coaching. But I think, you know, working at United as well, doing the hospitality and doing TV, and reasonably busy with that, and enjoy doing that job. But I'd love to think I could, you know, maybe be part of the coaching setup at some stage. But you know, we've got Nicky Butt there, who's head of the coaching, the youth coaching. Quite a lot of the old, you know, Scholes in there as well at times. So we've got a lot of our lads around the club, and I think that's great for the future. I'm not sure what's coming through at the moment, but you know, you look at people like Brandon Williams and Chong and people like that who've done really well and are progressing now into the first team. I mean, Brandon's been exceptional. He had a great season last year, and I actually think he's our best left back at the moment. And I'm surprised he didn't play on Friday against Tottenham. So, but I think we're in good hands. I think with Ollie. We're in good hands for the young lads coming through, and he'll give them all a chance. We know that, which is great for those lads coming through. If you're good enough, you'll get a chance, and then you've got to stake a claim then.
Lee, you know, we talk about yourself coming through the system. We look at Gary and Phil Neville now, like you mentioned, Brandon. You know, we've obviously had good fullbacks coming through the system. You won the Jimmy Murphy Young Player of the Year award in 89-90. We hear a lot about the youth system. We as fans, you know, we look forward to seeing guys like McTominay, Rashford, Brandon. Is it as big at United, I mean, as we imagine it to be? Because it's a part of our history. Youth team products in the squad for 70 plus years now. I don't know of any other team, any other club in the world that can say that youth, and especially our own youth, it's the kind of importance. So when you come through, is that something you feel under Sir Alex and Ron, you know, that as a youth player, you really have a chance to go on and be a part of this team?
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, we've got a great tradition, haven't we, of youth team players being involved in every squad from, like you said, 70 70 odd years ago is incredible, and no other club will ever do that. But that's part of the thinking of coming through the youth team and being part of the youth system and the reserves and everything else. If you're good enough, you will get a chance with Sir Alex or with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I think Louis van Gaal gave something like 16 players debuts when he was here, and people forget about that. And I appreciate him doing that, and he got a lot of stick, Louis van Gaal, but he actually gave a lot of young lads a chance in the team, which was great for him. But we have got that tradition, and you do feel when you're coming through that if you are good enough, you will get that chance at some stage. I mean, the first one of my youth team that got into the first team and got in the squad was a guy called Tony Gill, and he played about 10 games in the first team, and all of a sudden, oh God, we've actually got a chance now. If Tony's got in, then it's up for all of us. And bit by bit, all the lads that were still there with my youth team got 1 or 2 games and got a chance. Some of us played more games than others, but then Tony was very unlucky after he played about 10 games and he got his leg shattered playing against Notts Forest, which was a nightmare for him, and didn't play again. So that's how easy it was, the injury side of it. But it was great for us as young lads coming through, as we were all a part of a group together. And then obviously the class of '92, that group came through. And then you look at us now, like you said, with Scott McTominay, with Marcus, with Jesse, with Brandon Williams, Chong, Gomez. There's a good number of young lads.
Mason Greenwood,
Mason's been brilliant as well, yeah. So there's some great players coming through. I mean, I think Mason's going to be, a top player for the next 10 years. He's going to be the next Marcus, I think. Marcus is doing well. Scott was our best player, I think, before lockdown. And nobody mentioned Paul Pogba because he was doing so well. But obviously Paul did well on Friday and would be a great asset if he's on top form.
Paul, a lot of times I think people forget Paul himself is a youth product. He's someone we identified at a young age, came through the academy. Yeah. Dean Henderson is being spoken about. I also want to ask you something, Lee. With your history with Celtic, it often gets brought up, the Lisbon Lions, 10 guys born and raised within, minutes of the stadium. And then but the Busby Babes, in itself also, our history, when we won that first European Cup, the Busby Babes was also almost as local as it got. These were all guys Sir Matt had with him since the 50s, really. So for us to go and win that first European Cup on the basis of our youth players was also a pretty big achievement.
Yeah, Sir Matt was big on that as well, wasn't he, with the youth? I mean, the Celtic one, I think the Celtic lads were all born within 12 miles of
10 of them.
Park.
Yeah.
10 of them, which was amazing. And then obviously the year after we won the European Cup, which was really special, 10 years after Munich, with a lot of young lads in the team, like Brian Kidd came through, obviously George and, people like that. David Sadler came to the team, and we were such a good side. And I suppose back then, it wasn't a worldwide game where you'd go and buy a player from Brazil or you'd go to Portugal. You got a lot of your players from England, Scotland, Ireland was we got quite a lot of players from Ireland. So it was a little bit different back then, but and that probably won't happen nowadays because it is a worldwide game and people do come from all different parts of the globe. But it's a great league to be part of now. I think the Premier League's so special, and we see the best football. And as Manchester United, if United come calling as a player, to turn United down would be very difficult, I think.
Okay, so Lee, obviously, as Hassan mentioned, you won the Jimmy Murphy Young Player of the Year award.
Yeah.
Not many youngsters win it, obviously, so it must be special. I just wanted to ask the influence of Eric Harrison on that, on your early youth coaching, or was it someone else?
No, Eric was there from me being 12 at the club, and Eric was just fantastic, and all the lads that were coached under him will tell you the same thing. He just taught us everything about the game from me being 12 to sort of like 18. I learned everything from Eric, and he was quite strict as well. He was quite tough on us, a little bit like Sir Alex, but his coaching was second to none, and we spent hours and hours on the pitches, on the the training ground, and then afternoons indoors. We spent hours doing different techniques and different tactical methods. So I learned everything from him, really. And like you said, yeah, I was actually the first player to win the Jimmy Murphy award in '89, and that was quite special. And I've met his family quite a lot over the years since, and I'm quite proud that you look at the list of players that have won that Jimmy Murphy award. I mean, Ryan Giggs, Scholes, Gary Neville, Phil Neville. They've all those great players have won it, and I was the first one to do it, which was really nice.
All right, Lee, how tough is it for a youth product to come through as a first team player at Manchester United? What level of dedication, talent, and hard work does it take for you to break through from the youth academy?
It takes a lot. It takes a lot of dedication for starters. I mean, as a young lad, you want to be going out and you want to be with your mates and at weekends and stuff, but you just can't. I mean, I didn't really have a teenage years that my friends had because I was so dedicated to the football. But then it paid off later on in life. But yeah, it takes so much dedication. I think back when I played, you had to be a good player to get a chance in the first team. But I think now, you've got to be something exceptional and really special as a player to even get a chance these days, because people are coming from all different parts of the world. So it is. I think it's a bit more difficult now as young lads coming through and trying to make it in the first team. But you look at what we've done over the last few years, like I said, with Brandon and Mason. They've all done it, and they've all dedicated their lives really to Manchester United, and they're reaping the rewards now, because the rewards are massive. If you do well at United now, the adulation that the fans give you, and I suppose the monetary side of it now is a lot different as well. So the rewards are huge, but if you do well, it's great to see those lads coming through.
When you speak about adulation, obviously I remember a story when Adnan Januzaj, our youth player, wasn't signing a new contract in 2013. Sir Bobby Charlton obviously went to the media and said that if you play for Manchester United, you'll be rich anyway. So obviously that richness means the things that you're talking about, adulation. And if you play well for United, obviously you're rewarded well as well. Marcus Rashford is on a good contract right now. So obviously the youngsters should be looking at that as an example. But if we talk about the remaining season, what are your predictions for our top four hopes and beyond as well?
Well, I think coming into the lockdown, we were doing really well, and we were something with 10 games unbeaten or something. And I thought we played well against Tottenham the other night. I thought we played some nice football. I think Fernandes and Bruno Fernandes has made a massive difference to the team. But I think we look a confident team at the moment, and with Paul coming back into the side, we looked a bit more balanced everywhere. I think we've got a really good chance of finishing top four. Looking at Chelsea as well, they're going to be they're a decent side. They played well the other day as well, so it's going to be difficult. But I think we've got a really good chance of, and I suppose it all depends on, we've got a good chance to win the Europa League. Don't forget, if we're still in the FA Cup, we win the Europa League, then we're in the Champions League anyway for next season without even having to worry about qualifying in fourth place. And then if Manchester City appeal doesn't come off, then there's another place there anyway. So I think by hook or by crook, we will get in the Champions League next year.
So Lee, we always do this whenever we have someone on the show because it means a lot to us that a legend like yourself takes the time out to come speak to us, help us talk to the fans. So when things settle down, hopefully, when all of this is just a bad memory, we'd love for you to come out to Pakistan. We've said it to Maisie. We've told Ben Thornley as well, Keith Gillespie, it'd be great for us to have you here, visit us. And as we always point out, there's no point going to India because you've got much better food, So you obviously want to come out here. It would be brilliant for us to host you and, learn from you and just have the young fans learn about not just the history of the club, but also of the sport. It's our little humble way of trying to increase the knowledge and the exposure for football. And when you come on, and Ben comes on, and David May and Keith Gillespie, Lou Macari, all of you, it really helps us with that objective, because people are looking and saying, okay, wow, I'm talking to an FA Cup winner. I'm talking to a treble winner. I'm talking to people who pulled on this shirt. I'm just wearing it.
Exactly,
You've worn the shirt and stepped onto the pitch. So for us, it's such a big deal. So we'd love to have you over.
That's
better.
very kind of you. I mean, it's a great thing what you're doing as well. Keep up the good work, and I'd love to come out there and visit and meet all the fans out there. So look forward to coming and seeing you all.
Okay, so I have one last question, and obviously we do this show just to learn, and we don't ask controversial stuff or anything spicy or anything like that. Our objective is only to learn and educate our fan base. So who are you on good terms with, an ex-United player or a coach or anyone?
I'm actually on good terms with all the ex-United players, because I work on match days. People like Brian Robson and Gary Pallister I see every week. I see Sir Alex occasionally at Old Trafford when I bump into him in the corridor. But yeah, quite a lot of the old players. I see Lou Macari, who you spoke to every week as well. So it's absolutely, he's a great lad. So we bump into, we're all like a family at United on match days as ex-players, and people like Stuart Pearson from the 70s team, and Frank Stapleton, Jimmy Greenoff, Alex Stepney, all those guys. We all meet up and we have a cup of coffee, and then we go and do a little bit of work. But well, it's not work really. It's quite fun to be paid to go and watch a game. So we can't complain.
So out of all these huge names, obviously I'm not going to ask for Sir Alex, because I know he's not going to come. But who are you going to recommend us to come on the show next?
Right, okay. Well, what about Frank Stapleton, maybe?
That'd be great.
Yes,
that'd be brilliant. Love Frank.
We have Alex Stepney coming on next week, so obviously Frank Stapleton.
Okay, so Frank would be good as well,
He'd be brilliant. If you could please put in a word.
I will do. Yes, I will. I'll text him now and see if he'll come on. I'm sure he will.
That'd be brilliant.
So,
great.
Will you let Ben or Keith know about that? Because obviously
I'll let Ben know.
You don't use social media.
I'll text Ben now because Ben's got his number as well, so Ben can organise that. So Ben does all our running around for us.
Ben's been wonderful for us on the show.
He does a lot of good work behind the scenes, Ben, that he doesn't really get any credit for.
No, he does from us. He's a true hero to us.
From us, I mean, he doesn't get any credit for us. We take him for granted a bit. We get him running around doing all the organising. We maybe should buy him some flowers or something.
No, we've asked Ben and Keith as well to come to Pakistan, and we've also asked you. So maybe if two other come along, then we can have a five-a-side game.
Oh, fantastic! Yes, we'll take you on. Don't expect too much.
Don't expect much from us either.
Don't expect too much.
We'll have a few beers anyway.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Okay, so thanks for coming on, and thanks for taking time out. It was a huge privilege for us. And obviously, I'm reading the comments and everyone's thanking you. So thank you from every Pakistani United fan as well.
Thank you very much. Great to talk to you.
Hopefully, we'll have you on again soon, and we'll look forward to you inviting Frank Stapleton as well.
Good stuff. Will do. Good to talk to you all. Keep up the good work and up the rest.
Absolute honour to speak to you. Thank you for the FA Cup, and please stay safe. Stay healthy.
Thank you for the next step. Thank you for the next 30 years as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Stay safe yourself, guys.
Thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Take care.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.